So today, doctors from across the specialty, that is psychiatrists, neurologists, endocrinologists, diabetologists, cardiologists, gastrologists, orthopedic, gynecologists, onco, nephrologists, and consulting physicians, as well as students have joined in. So we have more than 550. We have more than 550 registrations done till date, and few are expected to join live. So on behalf of the esteemed doctor panel and Torrent Pharma, I welcome you to the second edition of this webinar of Life Larger Than Medicine, Wellness for Doctors. So after the first edition of webinar, which was on the importance of diet and exercise, the second webinar is planned on pursuit of happiness. The broader objective or the mission of this edition was to discuss the concept of wellness and seeking the balance through physical fitness, social interaction, intellectual pursuits, and even spirituality will be discussed. And focus would be on having a balanced life, in this aspect. The broader context would be to take the participants to the concept of not just the healthcare but life care concept. This idea conceptualized by Dr. Sudesha and collaborated with other experts. Today we are here for the second edition, and I'm sure this initiative by Dr. Sudesha sir will contribute to the betterment of medical fraternity. So today's moderator for this webinar is Professor Dr. Satish Khadilkar sir. Though he does not require any introduction, but it is our pleasure to have him and to introduce him. So Dr. Satish Khadilkar sir is Dean, Medical Faculty and Professor and Head Department of Neurology at Bombay Hospital and Research Science, Mumbai. He was a former professor and head Department of Neurology at Grand Medical College and Sir JJ Group of Hospitals, Mumbai. He has written 6 books and 43 book chapters, and has more than 150 publications published in national and international peer-reviewed journals. He was awarded the Best Teacher award from Grand Medical College and JJ Group of Hospital in 2006 as well as 2014. He was editor-in-chief Annals of Indian Academy of Neurology from 2012 to 2017. He was a convener, neuromuscular subsection in Indian Academy of Neurology. He was a president at IA in 2018-19, president Now Muscle Society of India 2018-19, president Maharashtra Association of Neurology 2013, president Bombay Neurological Association 2015. He was a treasurer at Asian Ocean Myology Center, and he was a trustee and secretary at Muscular Dystrophy Society of Mumbai. Actually, he's a teacher, and under him, I think hundreds of neurologists as well as general medicine, students have immensely benefited from the wisdom and from the experience of Dr. Khadilkar sir. So without much ado, I request Professor Khadilkar sir to take on with the proceedings, and we are sure that all of us will enjoy being a part of this webinar. Thank you very much, and over to Dr. Khadilkar sir.
Very good evening, Chintan. Good afternoon to all of you who are in India. And I'm told there are people in Philippines, Malaysia, United Kingdom. So thanks for tuning in. For some of you, the time may be odd. Thank you very much for tuning in. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here this afternoon and introduce the topic and speaker to you. The speaker is my dear friend, Dr. Sudhir Shah, who is a very well-acclaimed neurologist, well known all over the country. For his neurology, he's been at the VS Medical College as professor and head. He has been one of the main neurologists in the private sector of Ahmedabad and Western India. And in addition to being a neurologist of reputation, he's got many other facets. He reads a lot. He reads spirituality. He reads about religion. And his views about these aspects are very, very interesting. So I think for today's topic, the speaker is very, very apt. The topic is also very interesting, and it's one of the reasons why I am here, partly for selfish reasons. I also want to understand from Sudhir about happiness. I think we all work so hard And we're always worried about our patients and things that don't go right for them. That seeking our own happiness takes the back seat. So I think the speaker is very correct for this topic. And with this little brief introduction, let me hand over the mic to Dr. Sudhir Shah for his deliberations on the pursuit of happiness. And as questions come to your mind, you please put them on the question forum. There are already many here. And after the lecture, we'll take them as many as we can. So, Sudhir, welcome. And please do tell us about happiness.
Thank you very much, my dear friend Satish. And in fact, it's a mutual learning. I have also learned a lot from you. And in fact, in the journey of our life, we are all together, trying to have the elixir of life, and that is happiness, the nectar. I'm just sharing my slides. Is this visible now?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So at the outset, I must thank Torrent Organization, Torrent Pharmacy, Mr. Chintan, Anubhai, and the whole team for uh, ushering this wonderful series of webinar. Pursuit of Happiness is the second of the series. And in past, we had, last time we had diet and exercise for doctors. So this is a doctor-centric conference. Lot of webinars are occurring regarding new disease and new symptoms and new genes and new therapies. But I think what, as Dr. Satish told, we all need to heal our own selves. And that is why I thought this is one of the most appropriate topic for us. Not only doctors, for everybody, but I have brought in little more context of doctors. Now, at the outset, I have told you that happiness is the nectar, it is the elixir of life, and all of us is a fundamental issue of our existence. So I have a question to start with to all of you. How many of you want to be happy? You want to be happy? Raise your hands. Yes. Oh, then be. The answer is very simple. Do you want to be happy? Then be. Who prevents you from being happy? I think you have to remove your all mental barriers one by one. We'll do that. Remember, you are in charge of your happiness and not anybody else. Don't tell that somebody made you unhappy or some event made you unhappy, etc., etc. It is you who will decide whether you want to be happy with the given circumstances and in the given setup, with the given people. Decide every morning that you are in a good mood. Happiness is a choice, everyday choice. Second important rule, happiness is our conscious decision, our conscious choice, and it is free of cost. Everybody can use it. But most important thing that we have forgotten, that happiness is a journey, it's not a destination. In the journey of life, every moment you can become happy. But what happens most of the time when I ask my friends or people whom I know, Mr. X and Z, what do you think? When you will be happy? What do you think? What will make you happy? People come out with this answer. Oh, dear Sudhisha, if I get 1 crore of rupees in my bank balance, I'll be happy. Somebody says the destination that if I get PhD degree, I'll be happy. Somebody says if I get particular award, I'll be happy. Somebody will say that if my social duties are over, then I'll be happy. So there is a fixed point on which your mind is clinged, and till that point of time, we remain unhappy. The, the funny part is that when we reach to that particular point, like achieving that degree or fulfilling that social duty, that point moves further and there is another goal. So in chasing for happiness, we waste the whole lifespan and we never become happy. Actually, the whole journey of achieving a goal or whatever particular dream, it should be a journey of happiness. It's not a destination, that particular point you'll be happy. There is no better time to be happy than now. So be happy right now. I would tell you there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. So do not chase happiness outside. Just enjoy the journey. If you chase happiness, you will never get it. What is the purpose of life? Everybody wants to live. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants peace. The ultimate purpose of life is to enjoy and live happily and make others happy. But at the end of life, when we ask people who are on the nearing deathbed or almost at the fag end of the life, we ask them, what do you think? Did you achieve your goal of happiness? 98% of them come out with the regrets, telling, Dr. Shah, I knew that I wanted to become happy. I had all my plans ready for that, but somehow we missed the way and we could not become happy. Why it is so? So in this particular presentation, which I have very carefully prepared, which is the nectar of our life, and as I said, it is the complete life science. It's not merely happiness, it's a life science that I'm going to talk to you in my own perspective. You can create your own perspective later. So this is how we'll do it. We'll define happiness, we'll define the psychology and neuroscience of it, a little of science. Then we will find out why we are unhappy. That will make us introspect how we can get rid of that. Then we'll find what are the determinants of happiness. And then the most important, the last half hour would be how to be happy, the real keys of happiness. Unless we understand the first two aspects, we will not be able to understand the keys. So the first 30 minutes we'll have to spend in understanding happiness. As Aristotle defined, happiness is the meaning and purpose of life, the whole aim and the end of human existence. There is nothing beyond happiness. All the endeavors that we do in life, achievements, awards, degrees, money, riches, fame, name, everything we do because our inner desire is happiness. Happiness is a positive emotion, a persistent state of a feeling of well-being, an attitude of a state of mind. In Indian terminology, spiritual texts mention that achieving what is sought for is sukha. Dissociating from what is not desired is sukha. Ishta prapti and anishta viyog. The contrary is dukkha. When you don't want anything and you have to go through it, that is dukkha. Or what you want and you don't get, that is your dukkha. But as I said, happiness is an elixir. It's a full life science. Happiness is a state of mind. So let us make it a permanent habit. And how we can do that, we'll go through this. Before that, little of psychology. The triune brain model provided by MacLean says that we evolved in three stages. We had a reptilian inbuilt brain, then that was cerebellum and brainstem. Then we had added limbic system, part of the other parts of the brain, which came up as paleomammalian, and then we had neomammalian. The reptilian brain was always in a reactive, reflexive mode because of insecurity to save the animal from the other species, and therefore our anxiety is inbuilt because of the reptilian brain. Similarly, the paleomammalian, that is ox, bullock, cow, dog, etc., that part of the brain is called paleomammalian brain. And here, because of the reward system which was coming up because of limbic system, etc., the depression, because when somebody was not given proper reward, this aspect of human brain is from this particular paleomammalian brain. Then the humans were added with the massive neocortex, the prefrontal and the other parts of the brain, as you know. And there is thought, language, planning, empathy, etc. And here the behavioral and higher cognitive aspects were added, and therefore the psychotic behavioral aspects. So all three aspects of unhappiness from the psychiatric point, anxiety, depression, and behavioral issue and personality disorders, are because of our evolution. They are all inbuilt. And therefore, if the reason of our pain and unhappiness is psychiatric condition, we should take help of psychiatrists, counseling, treatment, etc. Now, only aside that, when I ask by email to 200 different people who are highly placed, and I ask them, what is your definition of happiness? How do you see happiness? No, people wrote different answers. Some of them did not prefer to answer, but many of them answered. And accordingly, I found out that people fall into three groups: those who are spiritually awake, which we in Indian language call sattvic people; those who are asleep, tamasic people; and those who are somewhere in the middle, that is rajasic people. Your own personal definition of happiness will depend on which of these groups you belong to. Go at the end of the lecture, at the night, you check with your own self, your status, whether you belong to sattva, tamas, or rajas. How? So that there are three definitions. Pleasure is linked to tamas, joy is linked to rajas, and bliss is linked to sattva. I will explain why. So 90% of those people whom I wrote, they mentioned that Dr. Shah, we like to have wonderful food. We want to go to different places, Switzerland, New Zealand, and Netherlands, etc. And we want to have, friends. We want to go to movies. We want to enjoy life in a. So all these answers basically meant what? Happiness for them is sought from outer world and is characterized by pleasure. It's sensual, all five senses: ear, eyes, nose, tongue, and touch. That is their thinking about pleasure. There's nothing beyond that. These are all instinctual happiness. And it's a physiological, like an action potential of the nerve. As in neurologists, we know that. And it is almost an animal instinct. All animals do the same thing. So this is called tamas in the Indian classical literature, where the sukha, the pleasure, is sought from the outer world, and it is all body based. Okay, they find pleasure in food, sex, places, listening music, fragrance. And when we do fMRI of these people during these activities, the particular respective area of the brain gets increased metabolism or increased cerebral blood flow. It gets activated. For vision, it is a visual area. For music, it is an auditory area. So all these five things, listening, music, fragrance, sex, etc., they have their representation in the brain. And the principal substrate in terms of neurology are dopamine, which the blue one, and the serotonin. As you know, dopamine is a reward molecule, motivation molecule, is a principle, pleasure principle. The euphoria, motor function, compulsion, all these things are linked to that, and there is a perseveration. There is a demand, perpetual demand for more and more. As for example, I get good food today, and tomorrow if I don't get good food for 1 or 2 days, then there is a craving, and then there is intense unhappiness. So this kind of instinctual and sensual happiness is transient, short-lived, and there is a perpetual desire of more and more because there is serotonin linked with that mood and memory molecule. So these people become more unhappy day by day because every day their wishes, all those five senses are not fulfilled. So we should, as a human being, look after little pleasures here and there, but we should go above that and think of a little higher. What is that? Joy, second level. Here we begin to feel happy for no particular reason. Joy comes from inner world as well as outer world. It's more psychological. The refined desires. Desires are there. It is psychological, not physiological purely. There are desires which are refined through service to mankind, success, creativity, achievement, awards, rewards, social interaction, recognition, all those things that give you a kind of satisfaction, joy. That is quite human. And out of my study, only 8% of people out of 100 answered in those lines. They want to impart meaning to mankind, like achievement, success. Remember here, performing music. This man is performing music on stage. Performing music is an activity of joy, but listening to the music is an activity of pleasure, as we saw earlier. engagement, sports. When we do fMRI, there is a different set of brain areas which are activated, and here this activity lasts a little longer. And as you also can see that if somebody has created some institution or built up something new, or has done some creative activity like recording music, etc., that kind of joy lasts longer. Here the uh, the the joy is a longer lasting process than simply pleasure. And not only that, it is partly from the outer world, partly it is inner world. That's the reason why people with joy, human activity, have a little longer lasting satisfaction, etc. But remember, here the ego is most important, here the bonding is most important, and therefore if there are not many people to appreciate you, if somebody has made a lot of money, he has got a lot of awards and reputation and build up communes, but if there's nobody to appreciate that, these people don't feel happy because there is no satisfaction beyond a certain point. Here the principal chemicals are oxytocin, vasopressin, prolactin, the bonding elements. And as I said, this joy is also limited in the sense that it does not last for a very, very long time, and it is dependent on the external world to quite a good extent, because people have to be there to appreciate, etc., etc. And all these things, achievements, awards, do not last lifelong. Therefore, this is also limited. So, if we really want to be happy in the terms of neuroscience and psychiatry, we should go to the third level, that is bliss. Bliss is Nijanand. This is the highest state. Here, mind and all its activities start getting seized, slow, etc. Here, our consciousness becomes identified with universal consciousness. This is an experience of just being. We are totally self-dependent. There is hardly any external input. There is no outer world connection. People may say anything about me. People may do whatever. I am least affected. That is called the Nijanand state. Mindfulness practice, observing the body and mind, intentionally letting experiences unfold from every moment to moment and accepting them as they are, is one of the activities of bliss. Observing thoughts without getting caught up in them. Mindfulness practice is one of the most important practice, and when one enters into this kind of meditation, all these activities are meditation. When the person is eating, it is eating meditation. When he's sitting, it is sitting meditation. When he's talking, it is talking meditation. Working, it is working meditation. Because all the way it is connected to the inner core, and that is what one has to achieve. And when we do fMRI during these activities, uh, the symbolic representation of self is in the parietal area, as you know very well. And here in a very small area of some few millimeters, there is an increased cerebral blood flow, increased metabolism. And this lasts very, very long. And people who are blissful and remained in a meditative state, mindfulness state, they have permanent kind of blissful activity. Now here the principal neurotransmitters are endorphin, GABA, and enkephalin, and endocannabinoids. And this circuitry is very complex. And how GABA confers us peace, endorphin confers us bliss when by alleviating pain, and complex carbs like pasta, bread, food, etc., grape, honey, spicy food. All these things can impart us a lot of endorphin. And runner's high, cannabis, anandamide is produced when you are running marathon. After a few kilometers, there is a second run, and that is called runner's high. So these are the chemicals producing blissful activity. You know what? Inner peace refers to a state of being mentally and spiritually at peace, with enough knowledge and understanding to keep oneself strong in the face of discord or state. Peace of mind is generally associated with happiness, bliss. So peace of mind is given as a package deal to the people who are in bliss. So we have understood there are three levels of happiness. Happiness we use very loosely, but actually whether we are referring to pleasure form of happiness, joy form, or bliss form, that we have to segregate for ourselves. And bliss is being part of something bigger than yourself, and you know the chemicals that we have discussed. And we should try to go more and more in blissful state. And how we can do that, we'll see in the later half. The next question you may ask is, what are the instruments used in the study of the brain in happiness? Can we really measure happiness? Yes. Actually, you know, happiness index, GDP, Human Development Index, these are the three standard happiness indexes by governments done everywhere. But neurologists and psychologists use different forms also, like neuropsychiatric testing on 0 to 7. Every day you watch and assess how your progress. 0 is the worst feeling of mind. 7 is the happiest state of yourself. Then with the help of magnetoencephalogram, fMRI, PET, and also SPECT, which measures blood flow, you can also check the happiness level and happiness, how it flows in the brain. As for example, happiness does not have a clear-cut biological home. As we saw in previous slide, pleasure has different biological representation. Joy is in different area, bliss is in different area. Laughter responses are generated in the prefrontal cortex. Pleasant clips and pleasant taste and cash incentives increase left prefrontal cortex activity, etc., etc. So that was little about the science of happiness. Now we come to the second part, why we are unhappy and what determines our happiness. This is very interesting. As Satish mentioned, I would say, physician, heal thyself. We, out of all people in the world, we are the most vulnerable people. Many times I joke, there are two types of living beings in the world. One is happy people and second, doctors. So we are, always at stress and a lot of unhappiness. Why so? Friends, life is larger than medicine. As you know, the whole concept of this webinar series is life is larger than medicine. So we are relearning about life. Let alone this all webinars of genetics and new syndromes and drugs and new procedures. We have to be happy. I think this is fundamentally more important than learning something rare syndrome, etc. Life is larger than medicine or professional business. We are much more than a doctor. We are somebody's father, somebody's son, somebody's student, somebody's teacher, somebody's friend, somebody's spouse, and whatnot. So we have to live different roles. And why we are not happy? Because of our academic stress, professional career, corporate stress, conferences, researches, looking after spouse, parents, in-laws, children. Then there are psychological issues which each of us have in different proportions. Then we have to tackle social problems, children issues, the teaching, interpersonal relationship, competition of the practice, negative emotions like ego, jealousy. Everybody wants money, fame. Everybody wants to become Satish Khadilkar. Everybody has a problem of time management, the traffic, mobile, social media, etc. All of these things we have to manage, and social media has come as a big impact to our life, and that we'll talk in a minute. Staff management, misunderstandings, legal issues, paperwork, demanding patients, and then caregiver stress. And at the top of it, there are government issues, IT, GST, demonetization. Now every other day some new things coming up, the tension at China border and this and that, physical and mental issues. And at the top of it, we have to maintain our health, fitness, and beauty. So there are lots of reasons why you can list much more than this. And life is affected with the social media. There is inner emptiness, isolation, emotional burnt out, and restlessness. So all these things we have to control. And unfortunately, we spend at least 2-3 hours of our day in managing social media and mails, etc. I think we have to cut down at it, and at least spend some of the time in meditation, physical health, and mentoring relationships, etc. So determination of what are the determinants of happiness? One, 20% is genetics, 10% is circumstances, 10%, 20% is money and health, etc. And 50% our happiness depends on our behavior, our attitude, morality, and spirituality. This is very important slide. So this is how our 100% happiness comes from. 20% it is our genetic makeup. Oscar Wilde very nicely wrote, some cause happiness whenever they go and wherever they go, and some whenever they go. So some people are, difficult people. Some are so happy people that we always welcome that. So some people are born happy. Whatever the circumstances may be, even if they fail in exam or they have accident or maybe they have lost money, their happiness would not be affected much. Well, there are some people who achieve everything, but still they are always in a tense stage and they talk very rudely. So this is genetic. There are a lot of genes, VMAT2, 5-TLPR, MAO-A, FA, all these genes have been identified who distribute our happiness. They are responsible for our happy feelings because they generate some of the chemicals. Additionally, DRD2, which releases dopamine, DRD4 releases serotonin, HI releases endorphin. So gene may be the answer in the coming days for improving our happiness. However, epigenetics has come in a very big way. Intrinsic happiness occurs naturally, my friends. Humans have genes that can be activated by our thoughts, emotional patterns, and behaviors. Mindfulness, meditation, altruistic action unlock the DNA code and produce this natural happiness. So, as for example, mindfulness, meditation, and altruistic action unlocks the DNA code. While you can alter your gene or gene expression can be altered with your continuous positive thoughts, positive emotion, behavioral situation, and they produce happiness molecules. So this is the genetic hypothesis. Next, we come on the circumstances. Circumstances are transient in life. They, in the overall life scenario, because they are transient, they don't leave a permanent effect, and therefore their role is only 10%. If we reduce our commitment, if we reduce our interaction with people, I think we will be able to reduce our pain and unhappiness. The more the commitment, the more people we know, we are more in the trouble. Sanjoga mula jivena patta dukkha parampara. That is what Lord Mahavir said. And there was a study regarding money on GDP. So these green countries are the happiest country, like North America, part of New Zealand, something, Greenland, Finland, etc. India is somewhere all in the middle, and some of the countries like Africa, etc., they are having least happy because of their income bill. But you see, this is purely happiness index based on income, and that has limitation. Friends, money and happiness are not equal. Money produces short-term benefits. More money will not raise well-being. There was another study which showed with the increasing per capita income, which you see in the upper graph, there is actually no much increase in the happiness level. Ideally, it should go parallel. It's not so. On the contrary, with more income, the actual happiness level started falling. This is an eye-opener. Money can bring security as well as comfort and pleasure. It can bring improved standard of living and education. I agree that in present days we have to be at least, I would say, well-to-do. I don't want to say that we should be very, very rich, but at least we should be able to take care of our calamities, education, these, that, etc. But you know what? More money corrupts. More success corrupts. They both together may take away morality, relationships, health, bliss, and peace. They are impermanent because money and success will never be with you together at all the times. So they, once they leave you, you will be in a profound grief. So we need to balance our life. I said money and success are important. We are human beings, we are doctors, we need them. But we should not be running mad after that. We need to balance. Friends, applause dies away, trophies gather dust, and winners are soon forgotten. But what do you remember? The ones who take care of you and appreciate you. My friend Satish, my friend Jimmy, and so many friends helped me in my bad days of life. And my teachers who helped me come out from my different difficult days. My family members, my close friends, they are the people whom I love. For me, somebody's trophies and somebody's Nobel Prizes and somebody's riches are not relevant. So please take care of your parents, friends, family members, and your brothers, sisters, because they are the one who are the trophy holders for you. Look after them. Friends, in everybody's life, there comes a time when one is at a crossroad. One road takes you to more success, more awards, more pleasures, more joy, more money, more fame, achievements, possessions. But the other road that time offers you peace and bliss, godliness, spirituality, philosophy, morality, and religion. One has to balance. Even if you have to travel little more on this road for some or other reasons, your eyes should be constantly on this, and your daily endeavors should start on these aspects of morality, spirituality, philosophy, etc. Then only you will be able to balance your happiness, and you will be ultimately going to the level of bliss and peace. We'll see that in the part of keys. So change your drive. We have to change the drive from sympathetic or running, rushing, and getting more and more to parasympathetic, slow, calm, peaceful, yogic mode. So that was part two. And then now we have to understand how to be happy. The most important now 30 minutes would be focused on how we can become happy: physical, chemical, moral keys, philosophical, religious, spiritual perspective. And let us do one by one. Physical, friends, health is most important. When health is lost, you have lost most of things. Wealth is of no relevance. So eat right. I don't have to teach you as doctors what to eat. These all topics were taken last time regarding diet and exercise. Eat right, do exercise, yoga, breathing techniques you have to learn, get enough sleep, good excretory functions, learn to relax, stop vices. You know what? Live elegantly, laugh exhaustingly, and love abundantly. So eat right, balanced diet, Mediterranean diet, fruits, nuts, vegetables, pulses, liquid, olive oil, etc., etc. Get enough sleep, walking, jogging, running, cycling, swimming, whatever form of exercise. No excitatory substances, no drugs, no vices. Do resistance training. Went out with a friend. अगर आप दिल खोल के अपने दोस्तों से बात करोगे तो आपको कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट के पास स्टेंटिंग नहीं करना पड़ेगा, न तो कार्डियोथोरेसिक के पास बाईपास करना पड़ेगा. सो went out with the friends. In Corona time, went out on a webinar. Do yoga, do massage, not the Thai massage. I'm talking of general Indian massage. Laugh frequently. Smile. Smile is the main way to tell if someone is happy, but only if they are real smile. Smile solves many problems. Whenever I have no answer to particular question asked by my residents, I just smile. So they wonder, sir knows the answer or not. Laugh frequently, but at yourself, not others. Laugh from the core of your spirit and not in artificial ways. Learn to laugh out in all mistakes and bad situations. Every day we make mistakes and we should analyze them, laugh out, forgive ourselves, ask for forgiveness to others, and silence. Silence avoids so many problems. So, smile solves many problems. With all due regards to this gentleman, silence avoids so many problems. And love abundantly. Friends, life is very short. We don't have enough time to love people. And if you spend your life in judging people, then when will you love them? And love them. If you love, the rostral midbrain sends a signal to parasympathetic output. Your pulse, your respiration, your blood pressure becomes slow. Your limbic system gets increased blood flow, and you are in a serene, calm situation. If happiness is a biological cause, as we discussed in the brain, then we will be able to influence with drugs, surgery, bionics, etc. We can actually modulate our happiness. Psychological counseling. Even doctors should go to psychiatrists if it is called for. If, if required, anxiety, depression requires to be treated. Family is the best counseling place. The friends are the best counselor. And happiness improves all these diseases. Now, 80% of diseases are psychosomatic. Arthritis, allergy, asthma, coronary disease, irritable bowel syndrome, overweight, sleep disorder, all these things. If we become happy, all these disorders disappear. And if you are happy, success automatically comes. If you are successful, happiness may or may not come. But if you are happy, success will follow because your output improves. And who knows, in future there will be DBS surgery or functional neurosurgery for happiness. They say that in the periaqueductal gray, there are certain nuclei. If you stimulate them, a lot of endorphin and scapulins are released, and that relieves all this pain, and bliss follows. So maybe after 10 years, all of us will be having some kind of surgical treatment of happiness. Even the gene therapy. Tomorrow it may happen after 10 years. You will come to my clinic. I will check your blood on my computer. You are deficient in those 5-ATLR, FAR-MAO2, etc. gene. I will do nanotechnology with robot. I will infuse certain gene products and you will come out happy from my clinic. So genetic engineering, gene editing is also a possibility. But it may take its own time. It may or may not come. So what is I'm talking is very, very relevant. Next. So next point is 5 important relationships. Friends, married life, children, in-laws, parents, friends, and professional places. These are the 5 places where you have to be utmost careful in relations management. Happy married life to me and is a very interesting thing, but some people call it an oxymoron. Those things may not go together. It's not so. People who are lucky like me have wonderful partner as a spouse, and they produce a lot of happiness to us. So, but it's a wonderful definition of marriage I found. Marriage is a way through which two people join together to solve the problems they never had before. Very interesting, right? So, what do women want? This is our most unresolved question. Let us go a little deep into this. So, I asked my wife one day, after 10 years of struggle, I said, look, Chetna, I want to understand what do you really want? Ultimately, Google did not answer, but she told me that women want to be understood, they want to be loved, cared, validated, respected, accepted, and they want freedom. Okay, all right, have it. I gave everything. And I was happy. Then I asked her, she asked me, what do you want? And you know what I said? Men want this, leave me alone. So this is the beauty of marriage. Well, that was fun. Happiness for children. It's not a good idea to give them a lot of money and get away. We have to give them our time. We have to educate, give them knowledge, culture, attitude, etiquettes, wisdom, and heart, so that they can stand on their feet. So this is what gives happiness to them. And friends, my God, I'm extremely lucky. As I said, I have wonderful friends. And a person doesn't actually need a large number of friends to be happy. He needs 1 or 2 best friends. And I have real good friends. So friendship is one of the most important assets. Also, as I mentioned, take care of your parents, in-laws, and people at your workplace, seniors, juniors, and colleagues. Now let us move to the next level, and that is 5 hobbies or pleasant activities. Music, dance, creativity, traveling, reading, gardening, grooming, etc. These hobbies make your life, eventful, meaningful. Reading is very important. It's proven to reduce stress and increase relaxation. Reading, a library is a hospital for the mind, and music is the medicine of the mind. Music is a string that vivifies your soul and fills it emptiness. Similarly, traveling, gardening, keeping a pet, etc., all these things help. Those who want to travel on the left side of that road, that is road for more joy, more awards, more riches, more success, they have to build, team, do wisdom, courage, activity, transcendence, temperance, justice, leadership qualities, courage, etc. All right. Then one has to be a very precise in time management. Respect time and time will respect you. Do only those things that you only can do or enjoy doing. Decide on whom to meet, why to meet, and where to meet, and for how long to meet. I don't have time to go into details of this, but time management is a very important thing for successful people. Next, we move to the five virtues. Having done these physical things, relationship, hobbies, and then transcendence and leadership qualities, we talk about virtues. Very, very important. Very simple things. One is gratitude. Second is appreciation. Third is forgiveness. Four is kindness, compassion. Five is acceptance. So everything, as you must be saying, in coming in sets of five. So gratitude is one of the sweet shortcuts to finding peace of mind, happiness inside. Feeling of gratitude releases positive endorphin throughout the body, creating health. Gratitude is thanking people. Thank verbally. Express yourself. The smallest person who has done the smallest favor for you, please thank them. Or the big person who has done whatever favor to you, please thank God also. Thank your parents, thank your family, thank your friends. Gratitude brings abundance in the life, believe me. Same way, appreciate. Be verbal in acknowledging your appreciate. Appreciate life, even if it is not perfect. Happiness is not fulfillment of what we wish for, but an appreciation of what we have. And if you start appreciating, and if you start showing gratitude, you are half done. You will have wonderful things falling in your life. Similarly, forgiveness. The first to apologize is the bravest, and the first to forgive is the strongest. Forgive people. Don't give space to these unnecessary things. They are space occupying reasons. I have a wonderful share for you. Galib. Galib had written this. गालिब हमने जिंदगी को यूं ही आसान कर दिया गालिब हमने जिंदगी को यूं ही आसान कर दिया बहुतों को माफ कर दिया बाकी से जाके माफी मांग ली सो write off your all accounts every day and every other day and also for this compassion help people and accept you are not a god you are a doctor you have limitation it's not possible to save all ailing human beings all patients you are not able to change all your family conditions social conditions so cultivating an attitude of non-judgmental acceptance is not resignation. God, grant me the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. That is acceptance. Let's move to the next level, and that is mental level. Happiness is not something that happens that money or power can come out. It's only that when you control your inner experiences that you become happy when you want to go outside and want to buy an Amazon packet of happiness it's not possible Amazon Google cannot sell you happiness happiness is inner and now here there are three very profound spiritual laws in the classical material world one has to gain something to get pleasure like if I want a TV or a car I have to deposit something in exchange I have to give money or some gold or something and buy that so there is an exchange. But in spiritual world, there is no exchange. Whatever I want, I have to give. Same thing I have to give. If I want happiness, I have to give you happiness. If I want peace, I have to give you peace only. If I have to get respect, I have to give people respect. If I give hatred, I will get only hatred in return. So there is no exchange. Remember this. So we can't get away. The material way is to search for happiness outside. We all go out, and as I mentioned, in pleasure and joy, many of the activities are outside. In spiritual world, happiness resides only inside. There is no external output, and therefore we have to seek inside. But what has happened? We are all having inbuilt happiness in our inner core, in our consciousness. But because of the activities of our mind, namely our thoughts, negative emotions, desires, ego, attitude, we become unhappy. It is unhappiness is not that we have brought from outside. It is our inner happiness which is laden. It is layered up with the mental processes, and that is what we have to remove carefully. So we have to make a journey inside. That is the spiritual path. And when we look inside, we unfold the cause of our miseries. And then we realize the important spiritual laws. As I said, what I want, I have to give. And when I give happiness to somebody, it is not necessary that the same person will impart happiness back to me. Somebody else will give, because happiness will move in a circle. So that is also very important. Therefore, sometimes we baffle that I had done so many good things to this friend, and why did he reach me? It's not so. Somebody else will do good for you. That's another thing. Third, that it will come in multiple quanta. That is why it is called quantum laws of spirituality. If I given happiness in 10 quanta to you, I might get 1,000 quanta of happiness from somewhere else. So these are the laws that we have to understand. And the cause of miseries, as I have said, are aspiration, desires, thoughts, emotions, perversions, ego, attitude, our mind dwindling between past and future. Actually, happiness is in this moment, but we always move in the past and future. In the past is depression, future is anxiety, and that is why we remain unhappy. At some stage, we realize that peace and happiness are not outside, it is inside, and we have to work on this. And this is how we can work on this on the mental process. Attachment, thoughts, desires, ambition, emotions, attitude, and ego. Attachment is what? As a water bathed or to sleep as a water on dead leaf does not adhere, so the sage does not adhere to the seen, to the heard, the sense. That's what Lord Buddha said. You only lose what you cling to. The more you have attachment, rag or dvesh, you are gone. So don't be attached too much to a person or to the properties. Similarly, thoughts. We are what we thought. Every single thought arising in the brain and mind percolates everywhere. It passes in a fraction of a second. It goes to all over the body, in the heart, in the lung, in the liver, in the kidney, and it is own impact. All that we arise with our thoughts. With our own thoughts, we make our world. What is Sudirsha? My thought has created my universe. This universe is because of my thought. Speak or act with an impure mind, and trouble will follow you as the wheel follows the ox that draws the car. And we neurologists know that every single thought is now atomic. Whatever you think, we can really measure, depict, and actually record. So thoughts are not now abstract, they are atomic things. So, and each thought, as I said, traverses the whole body. And why body? Traverses the whole universe, ricochets and come back. So always be careful in each thought, in each word that you speak. Every word should be soft, truthful, kind, and useful to others. Similarly, desires. There is no fire like desire. There is no weakness like anger. There is no suffering like khandas, that is ragadvesh. And there is no happiness greater than peace. That is what Lord Mahavir, Buddha, Ram, Krishna said. Where ambitions end, happiness begins. Amount of balance in the bank at the time of your death is the extra work that you have done which you should not have done. When you die, if you have left 100 crores in the bank, what does it matter? It will be churned up by somebody else. You did all this extra labor for what? Instead of that, you should have enjoyed your everyday. Win anger by forgiveness, conquer ego by politeness, defeat deceit by transparency, and overcome greed with gracefulness. And attitude is a little thing that makes a great difference. So these are the 5 mental processes. The simple formula so far we have read is stop comparing, stop expecting, stop criticizing, start sharing, start helping, start loving, give and forgive, count blessing, enjoy every moment, stay in this moment, okay? And love people. Now we come to the final part of our presentation, last 15 minutes. I believe religion opens the doors of happiness. Religion confers upon man eternal life and guides his footsteps in the world of morality. You know, in the classical Indian context, the 5 vrata or 5 yama are ahimsa, non-violence; satya is truth; astya is non-stealing; celibacy, brahmacharya; and aparigraha, non-collectiveness. All religions, all across the world, teach the same thing. We have to follow them. Religion opens the doors of unending happiness and bestows everlasting honor. So these are the high value, high morals. And ethics is a fundamental thing. No doctor should ever compromise ethics. Whatever may be the kind of temptation in front of him, ethics is the fundamental thing. And there are 5 philosophical laws of life. One is law of karma. You receive what you give in a multiplied way. You are supposed to do your karma. Whatever you give, the same thing you will receive, we mentioned. The law of attraction says you attract what you think. All that you wish, it really takes place. So if you desire something from the core of heart, तो पूरी कायनात वो उसको आपको देने में लग जाएगी. Second, third law is the law of impermanence. This time will go away. This corona time will also go away. Everything is impermanent, transient. So friends, don't be very happy or very unhappy in the sense of time. When you have bad or good time, don't worry. Fourth is the law of destiny. None gets nothing more than the destiny or before time. And fifth is connectedness. Law of connectedness says everything is connected to everything. So this reflect on this in the evening and think what I said. Now comes the spirituality, final aspect. There was a study which showed that those people who had a high spiritual quotient, they were more happy in the terms of their commitment to their faith and spirituality. So spirituality confers a very high level of happiness. And how do you do spirituality? There are lots of ways. One is spiritual reading of your own noble text. You may read Gita, Veda, Purana, Jain Agam, Buddhist Tripitaka, or Bible, Holy Bible, or whatever, Holy Quran, whatever. So do spiritual reading every day. I had said you earlier, transfer some of the time of your WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook to this kind of activities. Do satsang, chanting, some devotional activity. That is number 2. Do some kind of yoga. We doctors are karma yogis, so but we devote our food to God. We should not ask something in return. The karma yogi does the karma without any expectation, and it offers to the Almighty. Similarly, Gyan Yoga reading, Bhakti Yoga is devotion, Tapa, there is penance or austerity some kind, and meditation. Spiritual reading, philosophy of karma, some of the philosophical laws also we saw, satsang, chanting. Prayer is also very important. You know what? Asking to the God something and bribing him with something else is not a prayer. It's a business. Instead, we should be asking for all love, kindness may fall upon the earth. We may ask, let this corona, COVID go away from the earth. Let everybody be happy. Sarve sukhina santu, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kashchit dukha. मैं मेरे अपने लिए कुछ नहीं मांगता हूँ, सभी की भलाई के लिए मांगता हूँ. वही prayer है. और at that time we pray God, we praise God, the virtues that God has we should imbibe, and God should forgive our limitations and our own fault businesses. This is what we should ask in prayer. And when we do prayer from the heart, there is a reward. In the SPEC study, we saw that there is an increased blood flow in the limbic system, and that in turn affects the parasympathetic output, and there is a profound peace, harmony, bliss, and pulse, blood pressure, respiration becomes slow, and you are getting connected to inner voice. And the yogic way, as I mentioned, Ratnatrayi, Moksha Marga, as in Jains have, Gyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raj Yoga, Kriya Yoga. There are a lot of yogic systems which I don't have context today to say, but just to mention in brief. And then Pinan, stop, some kind of activity which gives you strength, physical restraint, mental restraint, eat less, eat once a week, you don't eat food that is called anushan or fasting. When I was doing my experiments of fasting, I had a lot of time to visit to NASA people. I visited Andrew Newberg and many people. I saw that the Western world is now opening up much more to Indian systems, not only yoga, but the penance, the devotion, and all those things are being studied in different institutes. So out of the inner woes, there is something called politeness, service to ailing people, that is Vyavach, Swadhyaya is reading, Kaya Sarga is kind of meditation, but the final is meditation. And with a few slides, I will end in another 5-7 minutes, I believe. Please do me a little favor. Rumi was a very great Sufi poet of Turkestan, and he wrote in very, very small phrases, words. He mentioned a lot of things, very in-depth things. He also wrote, please do me a little favor. Search your own self within yourself. छोटा सा एक काम कर, तेरे अंदर तू तेरी ही तपास कर. Do me a little favor. Search your own self within yourself. What is meditation? Exercise of mind to keep it healthy and clean as we do for body. All our activities of day and week and month and year and life are body centric. We don't do anything for our other important existence, that is mind. Forget the soul. Now, meditation is a way to correct this mistake. It's an exercise of mind to keep it healthy and clean as we do for body. It's a state of altered sense consciousness. Somebody, neuroscientists call it four state of consciousness. It's a spiritual ecstasy with neurological manifestation, not really hallucination. Some people used to believe it is a hallucination till 1995, but Professor Andrew Newberg, whom I mentioned, he was one of the fundamental persons to study meditation in a very great depth, and he came out with the uh, biological imprints of meditation in the brain, and these things were reproducible. And I'm happy that I had worked with him for some time. Some of you may be feeling that meditation is perfectly an Indian system. It's not so. All over the world, there are different ways of meditation. And this was the Chinese Qigong system, Tai Chi system, Tao system. There are lots of systems. Just to show to you that there are lots of ways you can meditate. Today's topic is not meditation. In fact, some time back, I spoke on meditation. Maybe in one of our series later on, we'll take meditation again. But focus on breathing, focus on an object or light, focus on a sound, focus on a thought, focus on a sensory perception. There are lots of ways, 8 major techniques, and then so this was a Sufi meditation. And there are, out of those 8 techniques, there are 120 main methods, and there are thousands of ramifications. If you learn meditation, you can make your own method of meditation. And meditation is a very complex neurocircuitry, and just for a reference. But what is the outcome of meditation? During meditation, there are 2 profound changes happen in the brain. One is in the prefrontal area. As I said, humans are blessed with the massive neocortex, and that neocortex confers us intelligence, cognition, higher memory, prioritization, executive function, and judgment and whatnot. And during meditation, there is increased cerebral blood flow. Before meditation, the SPECT scan shows the red part shows blood circulation. In during meditation, after 30-minute session, there is such 30% increase of cerebral blood flow. Think of those people who do daily meditation for years, their cognition, their intelligence, their executive function, their judgment, they profoundly increase. प्रज्ञा का विकास meditation से होता है. And second profound thing is in the left parietal area, posterior parietal lobule, PSPL, where our orientation is supposed to reside. Orientation to time, place, person is manifested to this area, and therefore our ego, our attitude, everything comes from this orientation to time, place, person. Our thoughts and desires to other people is also in a way linked to this. And during meditation, as you can see, the cerebral blood flow is cut off. It gradually goes to null. Therefore, the people with meditation are able to control their thoughts, desires, emotion, attitude, ego. What are they? They are the root cause of our miseries. So meditator is able to control the mental processes and get out of unhappiness, and the inner happiness is manifested because the mental layer is gone. मन में से अमन होने की प्रक्रिया मेडिटेशन है और profound cognition is meditation. The third is limbic system, where you get improved parasympathetic outflow. Meditation, my friends, improve our attitude and personality also, concentration, compassion. Even the studies show that there is increased cortical thickness. In the autopsy studies, we have found that chronic meditators have increased the frontal cortical thickness, which means they are cognitively much better. So they have a neuroplasticity kind of thing. The attitude is something which is changed with meditation. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, success is, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearances, giftedness or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we'll embrace for that day. Even happiness is an attitude. We cannot change our past. Can we? No. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is to play on the only string that we have, and that is our own attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you, friends. We are in charge of our attitude. Friends, meditator has a different attitude towards life and every event. So the brain's default network, you must be aware as a doctor how it operates. And during the autobiographical memory retrieval, during the envisioning the future, during the introspective activity and the perspectiveness activities, your brain's default network start working. When you are doing external activity, the attention mode comes up, or the other also lateral frontal motor network comes. Here, there is a default network doing meditation. Friends, pain is inevitable. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Lord Buddha, Lord Mahavir and others said the same thing, that there is a problem. वर्ल्ड में सब जन्म से मृत्यु तक, बीमारी से वृद्धावस्था तक सब दुख ही दुख. That there is a problem. We cannot deny. But there is a cause. The cause we have mentioned, our thoughts, emotions, desires, attachment, negative things, ego, attitude, the mind wandering between past and future. There is a cause, and that there is a way like spiritual practices, religious things, and the gratitude, etc., which I mentioned. And if you follow that path, you will get the solution. So, if I summarize what I said, there are 5 activities of health, 5 relationships we mentioned about spouse, children, friends, parents, in-laws, and the people at workplace. 5 hobbies we mentioned, 5 medical interventions, 5 philosophical laws, 5 virtues, 5 mental processing, 5 spiritual practice, and relaxation. So the formula that I have brought for is, you can have a photograph of this, stop comparing, stop expecting, stop criticizing, start sharing, start helping, start learning. Give and forgive, count blessing, enjoy every moment. Learn music, dance, art, read great books, do sport activities, do gardening, appreciate people. From this day onwards, appreciate each and every people you meet from the core of your heart. Don't flatter them. The true virtues. Thank them heartfully, everyone. Learn creativity, be with nature, enjoy traveling, accept limitation, do yoga activity, do breathing exercise, do other exercise, physical training, strain, weightlifting, do prayers, chanting, devotion, meditation, and be happy. So the work formula could be like this. Distribute your one day 24 into three parts. 8 hours of work, agreed. But working like a dog for 12 hours, 14 hours, I think it's not a good idea. Make a great team, divide your work with the friends. Teamwork is the real answer for today's scenario. 7 hours of sleep, 9 hours are now in your balance. They are divided into 3H, 3F, 3S. 3H is what? 1 hour for health, one for hygiene, 1 hour for hobby. Nourish yourself, do your hobbies, enjoy your hobbies. 3 hours for F, family, friends, and faith, that whatever religion you follow. And 3 hours S, service to mankind, humanity, soul, and smile. All of us may not be in the same, some of us have to work slog hard because of our duties, etc. But then this is the gist. You can, make management changes here and there. My final word is, friend, happiness is inside you. As you must have heard and listened and imbibed from what I said, happiness is inward and not outward. It is full, our inner core, our consciousness is full of happiness. It is the outer layer of mind and this activity that we have to remove. So don't look outside. It does not depend on what we have, but what we are. That is our happiness. So the address of happiness is one spiritual mansion, meditation hall, philosophy lane, peace society, charity chalk, morality area, religion station, and pin code is 0000000. It is inside, not outside. That is the address of happiness. So do you want to be happy? I started with this slide and I said then be. The real exact answer is, if you want to be happy, then just be yourself. Stay in this moment and enjoy inner experiences. Thank you very much, friends. I really enjoyed. I became so happy that I lost the orientation to time, place, and person. But thank you for your patient listening. I tried to give whatever best I could. But everything we hear is an opinion, it's not the fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Everything we feel is a perception, not the reality. And everything is subject to change. So be judgmental. मैंने मेरा truth बताया, आप अपना truth, अपना रास्ता खुद ढूंढो. Be happy, all of you enjoy life and change from sympathetic to parasympathetic drive, find out our own mistakes, and be blissful, happy from the core. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sudhir. Thank you very much. I think it was a fantastic talk. Many compliments on the talk.
Thank you, my dear friend.
How much time do we have? It's 14 minutes past 6. How much time do we have? Chintan, how much time?
Yeah, so we can have another 20-25 minutes on it.
Okay. So
if I may propose,
yes,
Satish, I would like to hear your views because you are quite highly placed in all directions, and I want you to share your thoughts over next 10 minutes, and then we can take up few questions if you so wish.
actually there are lots of questions here, but yeah, let's do it that way. See, basically, I think Sudhir, you covered a real lot, and I think it will take people to sort of go over what you've said and mull over it to understand so many aspects that you have given. As I was listening to you, a few thoughts came to my mind pertaining to medicine and happiness. So what you told is true for everyone, I think, doctor, non-doctor, lawyer, whoever. But when it comes to medical people, and now that we have been in the medical field for 4 decades, whatever we have seen, some points of that I want to bring out. And I'm told that there are some young doctors also in the audience. Is that correct, Chintan? There are medical students and
Yes, sir. Yes.
early career people as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think that's why I want to make this point that a lot of us, when we come into medicine, we have absolutely no idea what medicine is and what have we accepted or what have we what do we want from it. So I think one of the basic problems of doctors is their intelligence allows them to enter the field, but they've never thought what the field is about. They don't know what they expect from medicine and what medicine expects from them. And having been in the Grant Medical College for a long time and being particularly interested in teaching undergraduates and postgraduates, believe me, I was shocked to realize that majority of the boys who came into the Grant Medical College to do MBBS had no idea what medicine is about. They got marks. Somebody said, if you get marks, your doctor is a good career. They came in. So I think the basic problem of unhappiness begins there, that they are intelligent boys and girls, but they have no idea what medicine is about. Now, you and I know that medicine is about treating common diseases. You will see TB meningitis 100 times in a year. But that doesn't satisfy them because they're intelligent. It's a misdirected thing because they don't know that it's not the intelligence that's going to drive them through the career. It's the ability to look at common diseases, treat them best, look at the people who are having the diseases. So I think somewhere people who go into 11th standard and 12th standard and want to enter a medicine, they must have an orientation class as to what medicine is about. Then they can choose the career. I think the counseling bit is completely missing. And we have got an army of intelligent people who have no idea what they're doing. Sorry to be a little strongly worded on this, but it's an army of guys who don't know what they want. They're very capable, they're very intelligent, but they don't. The second part, I think, as we come into medicine, somewhere early in the career, it must be taught that medicine is a limited science. It's limited. We all realize it. I mean, you give a medicine 80% of the time, this will happen, 20% of the time, that will happen. In a given case, you don't know what will happen. So there is a lot of uncertainty that you are going to face as an individual. And the more intelligent you are, the more accuracy you want. Isn't that so? Then you should be a physicist. You should be a molecular biologist. You can't be a clinician because a clinician is going to battle with uncertainty. Uncertainties of diseases, uncertainties of their behavior, uncertainties of everything. So whereas an intelligent man wants to be organized, medicine by its very virtue is disorganized. Take example of the gynecologist. He just has to tell the patient, when you start getting pains, you give me a ring, and whatever I'm doing, I will modify my life to make sure that you deliver normally. He can't organize. So I think the limitation of the science has to be impressed on the boys and girls very early. The uncertainties of medicine. Now, unfortunately, we are in an era where the society doesn't understand the uncertainty. They want you to know everything, and Professor Google is with everybody now. He's a bigger doctor than you are. So there is a lot that you need to do on the humanitarian ground. And I'll make one more point, and then we'll go to the Q&A. I think in our medical trainings, or maybe 2 points I'll make. In our medical training, we are all taught that, look, patient's illness is too big. Your comforts, your sleep, Your food doesn't matter. Somebody is comatose, somebody is this, somebody is that. They are facing so much misery that your little misery that you're not eaten anything doesn't matter. Don't you remember when you work for 24 hours and the boss asks you कि sodium क्या है, कैसे पता नहीं तुमको? तो बोलो बाबा मैंने सोया नहीं हूँ, मैंने खाया नहीं है. That doesn't matter. So I think this keeping yourself, I mean, you start feeling somewhere that looking after yourself is a crime because there are others who are very much worse than you are. I think that need to change in your own mind, like you said. You have to forgive yourself. I mean, you have to eat. You can't say that because the ICU patient is having arrhythmia, I will not eat. So I think that little incompatibility of the misery that you're going to see and looking after yourself a little bit to live by comfortably is another thing that need to be taught. And I think the last point that I want to make is the role models. I always maintain this. And having enjoyed the benefit of the greatest role models that can ever be, I think everybody's wings are of different size. So do not follow the role model just because they are there available to you. Look at what's your wing size, look at what you can do, and then sort of focus on whatever you think you can do well. And I think if these 3 or 4 basic things are sorted out, a doctor can be happier. Now, we can always take questions on this. Now, after this presentation is finished, I'm going to go to talk with the psychiatrist on dementia. I think demented individuals are the happiest individuals. No, there is a question from somebody that it is said that only a madman can be truly happy. So, well, yes, what is mad is the question. Right. Okay, so shall we take a few questions now? Sudhir, there are actually a lot of compliments for you. Lots and lots of compliments. So let me first relay the compliments to you that people have given. And then let's go to the questions. One is, how do you think should doctors relax and enjoy life in this pandemic time? You have any tips for them?
Sir,
Sudhir,
I
have we
think
lost you?
Dr. Yeah, sir, he's just reconnecting. You can pick up the other question. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, there is, by the time Sudhir comes back to answer the questions, um, there is one Dr. Gangwal who has requested that for a couple of minutes he wants to speak on the Jain lifestyle. Now, I don't know whether 2 minutes, whether we have time. Is Sudhir back?
I think he will take another 2 minutes to join, sir.
Okay. So shall we request Dr. Gangwal to in 2 minutes tell us about what he wants to say?
Uh,
Dr. Gangwal from Pune, or it's not possible to get him on the...
yeah, because this is on a different platforms.
Not easy. Okay. Right. Then there's another question which actually Sudhir could answer is waiting for happiness. Somebody has said, I'm waiting for happiness. I think like Sudhir told in his lecture, you can't wait for something. It's not a destination. Uh, it's the everyday process which has to make you happy. And there I think what Sudhir alluded to, let me get into that a little bit. The Zen philosophy. See, when we set goals for ourselves, we say, okay, 1.5 years from now, I will do X, Y, Z. Ah, Sudhir, you're back. Yeah. Sudhir, can you hear now?
Yeah, now I can.
Are you okay? Yeah.
Yeah, it was disconnected somehow. Yeah,
Yeah, no worry, no worry. There is one question which I started answering for you.
yeah.
There is somebody who said, I'm waiting for happiness. So I said, like you said, you can't wait for happiness is not a destination. It's every day. And then I was telling about the Zen philosophy
Yeah,
that when you suppose you set a goal for yourself, and this applies to all of us, we all are goal oriented creatures, let's say. So if we set a goal for ourselves, every day you are working towards that goal. So the methodology of pursuing that goal is with you every day. At the end of which you will get the so-called destination and the certificate, maybe after 1.5 years. So that process of going to the goal is every day. The goal is 5 minutes in 2 years. So the method matters more than the goal. If you don't enjoy clinical encounters, saying that I will be a big clinician will be a mistake. So I think when we are all setting our goals, we have to set our goal and the method. If the method suits us, then we are okay. Like if you are a born teacher, you may be asked to teach 8 hours a day, you will only come back happy and more energetic. But if you are a born clinician asked to teach, you will say, ye kahan phas gaya main. So you may get a certificate at the end of the year, but you are not going to enjoy it. So I think it's not waiting for happiness, it's designing happiness. And the design is in the method of what makes you happy. And that we all have to understand is different for everybody. Right, Sudhir? So the question to you is how to
In our
relax and
engineering,
enjoy. Yeah.
I'm
How to
sorry.
relax and enjoy life in this pandemic time.
I think pandemic has given a lot of challenges, but at the same time, it has given us a lot of opportunities also. And mm, as for example, I have now more time for myself, so I read a lot. Uh, I have selected certain books. This is what I wanted to do for a long time, which I'm able to read. I do music every other day. I call up my friends. I do pranayam. I do daily meditation. So some of the things which I always wanted to do, and the series of things which I have said, like reducing your time on TV, internet, and social media, and shifting it that to the in inner engineering activities, example, five virtues, some religious things, some spiritual reading, philosophical things, and meditation, etc. This can make you happier. If you always look at the figures of pandemics and deaths and all those things, you will unnecessarily wire your brain in a very bad mood. Rather than take maximum care for you and your family, and shift your thinking into all other creative activities, finish your pending manuscripts and write a book or poem or whatever. So creativity will give you a lot of space. So, and exercise, of course, most important. Daily, you must do some half an hour, 40 minutes exercise. I think this will make you happy and improve your immunity with positive thoughts, etc. I think there are some of the things, little small things, little small acts of kindness also will make your day fruitful and happy. I think many of the things I already told, the same things, whatever is applicable in your setup, you may do it.
Somebody has raised this point that happiness should be taught as a subject in medical and other streams. We,
Oh,
we think it should. Your take on that? Yeah.
no, you're absolutely right. In fact, and we at Gujarat University had given a certificate course last year for happiness, which was for about, I think, 25, 30 lectures. I also delivered a couple of talks there. But I have represented to the Vice Chancellor, and he is all set to give announce a course of happiness of 1.5 years certificate course. And as you know, in Dubai, there is happiness ministry. In India, I also think that all local governments should have happiness ministry. In every institutes, every books, every courses, happiness should be included right from childhood. I completely agree to the person who has asked the question and to Satish. This is a fundamental requirement. Why we are here? Human existence is just for the achievement of happiness. All these endeavors are just centering around that. So we must do that.
Also in our Indian system, where families were joined, the grandparents were doing this because they were at that point in their lives where they could
Correct.
tell it to the grandchildren. So what I learned from my grandfather was different from what I learned from my father. So I think it starts really very early in our traditional system, but unfortunately we are not following that. Then somebody has written a very nice comment, so I will read the comment. It's Dr. Prema Dikuna from Mangalore. I feel that we humans mostly are the cause of creating unhappiness in others when we could quite easily do the opposite and cause happiness in others. I think beautifully put. I think
Very
that's what Dr.
well taken.
Sudhir said. Yeah, right. Then somebody, the person who was waiting for happiness says that the happiness has happened, so that's great. Then I suppose this doctor must be a psychiatrist. Happiness and sadness, are they bipolar? No one can be happy all the time. Continuous happiness may exhaust your neurotransmitters.
Uh, that is not the case somehow, if I may answer that, because I
Please,
have
please.
been in touch with a lot of evolved saints and highly acclaimed people all the time. Because one of the reasons why I'm attached, because I have a good fortune of treating most of the great sages and saints, right from Himalayan authorities to those who are in transit, and not all, but some of them I found completely in a blissful state. This is the stage where there is no bipolarity. It is a completely stage where you're always in a mood of tranquility, peace, and balanced state of mind. The happiness that the questioner is talking is the one which is bound with pleasures and joys, which fluctuates because of the external input, I believe, and lot of internal conflicts. So these type of happiness, pleasure and joy related may have both poles. Bliss is by definition not so. This is my personal
Very
feeling.
nice. Absolutely correct. I think someone is saying importance of the universal consciousness, but I think that will take a long time to answer. So maybe the doctor can sort of subsequently contact you. Importance of spirituality in life is very appropriate and welcome. There is a comment on that. That's fantastic. And yeah, I think that's more or less it. So, Sudhir, you want to make any other points, or shall we give closing comments?
Uh, I would like to make a point that, as I showed in my ultimate last slide, you know, uh, whatever I have learned about life, life science, and about the the subject and topic, this is what I realized is the way I should. It may not be necessarily yours. So, as Lord Buddha said on his deathbed, the last sentence on record is like this: whatever is composed will decay. जो भी बना बनाया है वो सब बिखर जाएगा. Guys, you strive after your own salvation. मैंने तो अपना खुद का रास्ता बनाया है और आपको बताया भी है, बट आप अपना रास्ता खुद निकालो. जो भी चीज़ें बताई उसको समझो, उसमें जितना आपको ठीक लगे वो रखो, बाकी का बिखेर दो, और अपनी खुद सत्य का आप खोज करो. और ये जरूरी नहीं कि जो मैंने कहा वही सब सत्य है. दिस इज ऑल रिलेटिव, and only thing is the answers are somewhere here, and for me it has worked. The more I'm talking of about this subject, I feel every day I get more and more in a path of progress. frankly. And that is the reason why I choose to speak on this kind of subject, this meditation, etc. So keep on repeating, because we have been wrongly wired all these ages and years and centuries on a wrong path. So try pursuing this daily, every day, every hour, and make it a habit of doing that. That is what my ultimate message is. And whatever little from all these things you can do, it will make you more and more happy. And I'm really very happy that Satish was here as mentor. All these, so many delegates have come, and I'm also happy that Torrent has given this platform to all of us. Satish, your closing words, please, and then Chintan will speak.
Great, great. So the closing comment. First of all, would like to thank Sudhir a lot for being here. As he said, and all of you may want to mull on that and might want to come back. Special class of individuals in the society. We do suffer more than others in what we try to do. So the subject of happiness, I think, is more important to us. So I think, like so many people have said in the comments, it's important that we bring it in early in the careers and try and hone our people who are intelligent naturally to be happy as well as intelligent and good doctors. So personally, I think, Sudhir, I gained from your lecture. There is a lot more to think, and I will come back to you on some of the questions that come to my mind later on. And Chintan would like to thank the Torrent for arranging this and dissipating it so well that more than 550 people for a happiness talk is fascinating. So all the very best to this endeavor and the further endeavor that you're doing. And thank you very much. And we'll close at that. Thank you.
I would like to propose a vote of thanks to Dr. Satish Khadilkar sir and Dr. Sudesha sir. And this is one of the, this is the most required topic in this time. And most of the comments that has come is actually precisely, in this matter, that how to stay happy in any circumstances. And I think Dr. Sudesha did all the justice and gave us one formula that happiness is within you and not outside. So that pin code summarize everything what sir said. And yes, Dr. Khadilkar sir said that the most important part is the methodology, the process, and not the goal, right? So one should lose everything. That goal is not the ultimate thing. Actually, it is the beginning of everything. So I thank sir for giving us a wonderful formula, wonderful equations to adopt, apply, and implement in our life. And thank you very much. And we look forward to having such more wellness webinars in coming time. Dr. Sir, Sudhir sir, if you can announce some brief about our next month topic on the series.
Uh, Chintan bhai, as we had decided earlier, we would like to do doctor-centric more conferences, webinars. Uh, that is, life is larger than medicine. So in that, we will have one of these webinars on art and art in medicine. One is the medical legal aspects. One would be on the emotional intelligence for doctors. One of them would be on particularly focusing on music, because the subject is dear to my heart. One could be on meditation, or how to excel as a physician, and so on. So there are some of the things in our mind. And with great illuminaries like Dr. Satish, whom I really not only love, but I really envy, and at the same time, I really praise him from the bottom of my heart. He's a real gentleman, great teacher, and a very loving, kind friend to me. These kind of people, we will invite more and more. And I really want to thank you once again. And I think next month, every month, fourth Sunday, right? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Fourth Sunday, 5 to 6:30 or 6:40 would be the time where we will be doing these webinars, right?
Thank you everyone for joining in, and thanks a lot, sir. Look forward to having you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the whole team, Jaishwal and all other whole people in the team. Thank you very much. Shabin, total team.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chalo,
Good
see
night, sir.
you all,
Have a
see
great
you
day.
all the team.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
See you.
Be happy, everybody in your life. Thank you. More and more.
Sudhir, I'll finish the psychiatry session, then give you a ring.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good day. Good night.
Thank you.